Alright, so let's talk about a story you've probably heard some version of. Guy gets a bonus at work. Decent chunk of change. Maybe 5, 10 grand. And instead of sitting with it for even a week, he throws it straight into whatever's hot that month. Some stock his cousin won't stop talking about, maybe crypto. Doesn't matter what. The point is, he didn't think, he just jumped. 3 months later, half of it's gone. Panic sets in. He sells at the bottom because he can't stomach watching it drop any further. And now he's not just broke, he's more stressed about money than before he even got that bonus. Here's the thing, guys. This isn't a rare story. This happens constantly. And here's the problem with almost every how to build wealth video you've ever watched. They hand you strategies. Which stock to buy, which app to use, which side hustle to start. But nobody hands you the thing that comes before any of that. So today, that changes. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which one of these 5 things you're already skipping right now, and what it's quietly costing you in real dollars every single month you keep skipping it. Skip these, and you're that guy with the bonus. Nail these, and everything after gets so much easier. Let's get into it. Step 1. Master your emotions before the market does. This is the one almost nobody talks about first, but it should honestly be first every time. Get your emotions in check before you get your money anywhere near an investment. Here's a stat that's going to blow your mind. Over the last 20 years, the stock market itself averaged something like 10.7% a year. Solid number, right? But you know what the average investor actually walked away with over that same period? Around 7.1%. That gap, 3.6% a year every year for 2 decades, isn't a market problem. That's millions of dollars lost over a lifetime, not because the market did anything wrong, but because people couldn't control themselves. Think about it like this. The market goes on sale, everybody panics and sells. The market's ripping upward, everybody FOMOs in at the top. Buy high, sell low. It's literally the opposite of what you're supposed to do, and it happens because fear and greed are running the show instead of a plan. So before you touch a single investment, you need to ask yourself, can I actually watch this drop 20% and not panic? Can I see a friend bragging about some stock and not chase it just because I'm scared of missing out? If the honest answer is no, that's not a market problem. That's an emotional discipline problem, and it's got to get fixed first, because the market will test you on this within your first year guaranteed. And look, this isn't just about big crashes either. It's the small stuff too. Checking your portfolio 5 times a day, feeling sick over a red number that's really just noise, letting one bad week convince you the whole plan was wrong. The people who actually build wealth aren't the ones who never feel that pull. They're the ones who feel it and don't act on it. That's the whole skill. It's not about being fearless. It's about not letting the fear drive the car. Okay, so let's say your emotions are actually in check and it's good. That alone puts you ahead of most people. But here's the thing. Controlling your emotions around money doesn't mean much if you don't even know where your money is going in the first place. And that's step 2. Track where your money actually goes. This one's less painful than it sounds. You need to actually know where your money is going every single month. Here's the wild part. Most people genuinely can't tell you this. They know their salary. They know their rent. Everything in between? Total mystery. Subscriptions they forgot about, food delivery apps, random Amazon orders at midnight, it just evaporates. You can't fix what you can't see. That's the whole point of this step. It doesn't need to be complicated. Open a notes app, a spreadsheet, whatever, and for 30 days, write down every single dollar that leaves your account. Not to judge yourself, just to actually see the truth. Guys, this step alone changes people. Most folks find 15-20% of their spending was just leaking out on stuff they don't even remember buying. Now here's the part that actually matters. Run that forward. 20% of a normal income, redirected instead of leaked, invested consistently over just 10 years? That's not pocket change anymore. That's a down payment. That's real money you could be putting toward literally anything else, and you'd never know it existed if you never tracked it. So now you know where your money's actually going. That's huge on its own. But knowing where it leaks doesn't protect you when life throws something unexpected at you. And that's exactly where most people get blindsided. And we will discuss it in step 3. Build your safety net first. This is genuinely the step most people skip, and it's the one that wrecks them the hardest when life happens. Because life always happens. Real numbers here. As of this year, 43% of Americans couldn't cover a surprise $1,000 expense with savings. 43%. That's not some small at-risk group. That's basically half of everyone. And 22% have zero emergency savings, nothing. $0 set aside for when the car breaks down or you lose your job. If that's you right now, pause for 1 second. That's not a character flaw. Nobody sat you down and taught you this. Okay, let's fix it. If this number just hit a little close to home, that's exactly why this video exists. Go ahead and hit that like button right now. Because honestly, more people need to hear this part specifically. Here's why this matters so much before you invest. If you don't have this cushion and an emergency hits, guess where that money's going to come from? Straight out of your investments. At the worst possible time, probably when the market's already down, forcing you to sell at a loss just to cover rent. The real move, but before you invest a single dollar, is stacking 3 to 6 months of your basic living expenses in a separate account you don't touch. Boring? Yeah. Is it the thing that keeps you from financial disaster when life throws you a curveball? Also, yeah. This is your foundation. Skip it, and everything you build on top is standing on sand. Think about it this way. An emergency fund isn't really about the money sitting there. It's about the decisions you get to make when something goes wrong. With a safety net, a surprise car repair is just an annoying Tuesday. Without one, it's a crisis that puts you on a credit card at 20-something% interest, digging a hole that takes years to climb out of. Same event. Completely different outcome depending on whether step 3 was already done. So you've got emotional control, you know where your money goes, and now you've got a cushion protecting you. Good foundation. But there's still one thing sitting there quietly working against everything you just built. And it's probably costing you more than any of the first 3 steps combined. And that's step 4. Kill high-interest debt first. This one's just math, honestly. You gotta get rid of high-interest debt before you start putting money anywhere else. Here's why this one's non-negotiable. If you're carrying credit card debt at 25% interest, and you're out here trying to invest hoping for a 10% return, you're losing that math every single time. It's not close. Run it forward. A $5,000 balance paying only the minimum can take over a decade to pay off and cost you more in interest than the original amount you borrowed. Paying off that debt is your best investment, a guaranteed return equal to whatever interest rate you're bleeding out on that card. If that number just made your stomach drop a little, that's normal. And it's exactly why this step is non-negotiable. Drop a comment if you're working through this one right now because you are absolutely not the only one. The move that actually works: list out every debt you've got and knock out the highest interest rate one first while paying minimums on everything else. Once that one's gone, roll that payment into the next highest and keep stacking. It builds momentum, and more importantly, it stops the bleeding on the debt that's costing you the most. I get it. It feels boring compared to the idea of jumping straight into some exciting investment. But guys, you cannot outinvest debt that's compounding against you faster than your investments can compound for you. Fix this first. Okay, 4 steps down. Emotional control, spending awareness, a safety net, and debt handled. Here's the thing though. You could do all 4 of these perfectly and still end up lost if you're missing the one thing that actually gives all of it a purpose. That's step 5, and it might be the most important one on this list. Define your why and your enough. And honestly, this is the one that ties the whole thing together. Before any of this means anything, you need to know why you're doing it and what enough actually looks like for you. Here's what happens without this. You just chase more forever with no finish line. You hit a savings goal, and instead of feeling good, you just move the number higher. You get a raise, and instead of banking the difference, your spending creeps right up with it. There's no destination because you never picked one. So sit down and actually get specific. Not, I want to be rich. That's not a goal, that's a vibe. I mean actual numbers. What does financial freedom look like for you? Is it having 6 months of expenses saved so you can sleep at night? Is it a specific number that lets you leave a job you hate? Is it retiring at a certain age with a certain lifestyle? Once you've got that number, everything else on this list actually means something. You're not tracking your spending just to track it. You're tracking it because it's moving you towards something real. You're not building an emergency fund just because some guy on YouTube told you to. You're building it because you defined what security means to you. So let's bring it all together because these 5 steps aren't random. They build on each other in order, and here's the honest truth. Most finance content won't tell you. There's no single one of these that matters more than the others. Skip anyone. and the rest gets shakier. Step 1. Control your emotions because the market's going to test you whether you're ready or not. Step 2. Track your spending because you can't fix money you can't see. Step 3. Build your safety net so life's curveballs don't force you to sell at the worst time. Step 4. Kill high-interest debt because you can't out-invest it. Step 5. Define your why and your enough so all of this actually means something instead of just chasing a number forever. Go back to that guy from the beginning, the one who blew his bonus chasing a hot tip. Every single one of these 5 steps was missing. No emotional control, no idea where his money went, no safety net, probably debt sitting there the whole time, and definitely no real why guiding the decision. That's not bad luck. That's a checklist that never got checked. Here's the bottom line. Nobody ever taught most of us this stuff. We jumped straight to, how do I make money without ever building the foundation underneath it? And that's exactly why so many people get burned early and just give up on the whole thing entirely. So be honest with yourself for a second. How many of these 5 are you actually doing right now? If it's 2 or 3, that's not failure. That's a starting point. Do these 5 in order before you touch a single investment. If this gave you an actual plan instead of just more noise, hit that like button and subscribe. This is Moneyphilia, and we're just getting started.